and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall.
Right, ye that trust the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest you fall, man. Wait for his mercy, wait for his time. So the race is not given to the swift, right? But the ones that endure. That's why the Lord says, better is the end of the thing than the beginning, man. A lot of people think the beginning, and when the beginning, they chip off, they can't handle it. Gets too hot for them. They don't know that the end will be the reward. But they're not strong enough to endure to the end. Right? So all praise to the Most High. Let's continue teaching this word, bringing out a lot of stuff we can bring out. All praises. Right? Come. See, the brothers got the paper. Give me that real quick. See, the brothers got that paper, man. They ain't make a mistake with this, man, right here. They kind of showed you the Vikings, right? We got the history all about that. A lot of historians in Israel. They kind of show you the Vikings are black. They ain't make no mistake with that. They tried to say they make a mistake, but they ain't make no mistake. Right? They know that the Vikings was black. See? The Bible says all things shall be revealed in the end, man. Come.
Hallelujah. All right, so we're going to continue on with Esther. We're going to get through the story of Purim. For the sake of time, we're going to try to cover as much as we can. All right, but let's continue on where y'all left off at. When did y'all leave?
Verse 19.
What?
First chapter.
First chapter.
Verse 19.
All right. Okay, so we're going to have to jump around for the sake of time. I thought y'all was a little further along. But, okay, Esther 1 and 19. Read that.
The book of Esther, chapter verse 1 and then verse 19. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment for him, and let it be written among the lords of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before the king Ahasuerus.
Right.
And let the king give her a royal estate unto another that is better than she.
Right, so she rebelled to come before Ahasuerus. So he said, we're going to give your office, all right, being the wife of the king to another. All right, because some of the history of the scholars tell you that what happened is Ahasuerus, this is, most scholars say this is Xerxes the first, right? But what happened is he wanted Vashti, he got drunk. He had a 6-month party, 180 days, right? And he got drunk and he wanted Vashti, right? Even though it doesn't say it in the story, but a lot of the historians say he wanted Vashti to march before the people naked with just a crown on. That's why she rebelled, right? Well, if a husband say, look, hey, wife, I just want to show you off to the people. And she got a royal, beautiful garment. So most women will be flattered, right? But it makes sense, even though it doesn't say it in the story, but a lot of the history tells you that Xerxes was drunk and he wanted her to march before the people with just a crown on her head, butt naked. Right? That's why she rebelled. Right? Now, it makes sense why she would rebel, right? Now, even if that's not true, that's just something I read in the history. I read so much about Purim. But it kind of makes sense that, like, I'm not coming because you're the wife of the king. Why would you come and want to show your beauty before the people? Okay? Right? So in the history, it does say that. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say that's not true, right? But she just said, look, I'm not coming before the people. It was still her rebelling against the king. So he had to do something to be like, wait a minute, you got to be replaced. Right? Whether that history is true or not, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I've read a lot about Purim over the years. And that is something that they said in the history that's, you know, sort of a theory. Like, you know, Xerxes was just drunk and like, march and show your beauty, your whole body. Just leave your crown in your head. And that sounds like something these heathens would do, okay? But like I said, hypothetically speaking, it doesn't say that in the story. But let's say even if that wasn't true, she still rebelled to come before the people and the king. Okay? Read on.
Verse 20. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all his empire. For it is a great, all the while shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
Right, go to Genesis 3:16 real quick. Everybody link up Esther 1 and 20 with Genesis 3:16. Because this was already an order from the Most High. All right, now look, I don't care if you king or not. If I was the wife, I'm like, I'm not marching before the people naked. Right, but if she just rebelled and said, I'm not going to present myself, then of course, you know, Xerxes, he got to take action. Like, I can't have my wife rebelling against the king. Okay? So this was already established in our law, right, from the beginning. Right? Because although the law came by Moses, but you had things that were lawful in the beginning, during the time of the patriarchs. I did a lesson on that years ago. The law was from the beginning. When you go into the book of Genesis, the law was there. But it was more so the Most High dealing with us directly. But the law was there, so I went into Genesis, and then I went into Kwamishana. Elder Marishon and Seth. Shalom. I went into Exodus to Deuteronomy and showed how everything the Most High was dealing with Abraham and the patriarchs on, you can find it in the law. Right? Yeah, I did a lesson years. I might do a renewed lesson on that. The law was from the beginning. That's why I tell you that the Most High said Abraham kept my commandments. Right? Because what? The law was there. The Most High was just dealing with men more direct back then. Then he had Moses write it down. But he had you go through Genesis and you see aspects of the law even before the Most High gave it to Moses. Okay? Right, Genesis 3:16. Read.
Book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Thy desire shall be to your husband. Go ahead.
And he shall rule over thee.
And he shall rule over thee. Go back to Esther 1 and 20. Esther chapter 1 verse 20.
Esther chapter 1 verse 20. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all his empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
See that? So that was already from the beginning. The Most High set that up from the time of Adam and Eve. Thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. You shall give honor unto your husband, both great and small, no matter what status. I'm just going to obey you because you're the king. Well, no, you're just a servant, so I ain't got to obey you. No, it said no matter what status you are. You see what the Most High said? The desire shall be to the husband. He didn't say, well, if the husband only makes $20 an hour, right? Well, you don't have a certain status, so I don't have to obey you or respect you. God? He said that was from the beginning. So it said the same thing, both small and great. You got to give honor. Right, Khan? Verse 21, Esther 1:21.
Verse 21. And the same pleased the king and the princes. And the king did accordingly to the word of Memucan. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house.
Genesis 3:16 again. Go ahead.
And that it should be published according to the language of every people.
Every people. So Xerxes set this up. He said, in my empire, right, because Vashti was rebellious, every man rules in his household. Right, you heard? But the Most High said that from the beginning. Right, go ahead. Chapter 2, verse 1.
2 verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, and that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of the Pegi, the kings, chamberlains, keepers of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maidens which please the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the king and the things pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, son of Kish, a Benjamite.
Now notice he was from the tribe of Benjamin, but it still referred to him as a Jew. Right? Go ahead.
Who have been carried away.
I know sometimes brothers say, well, Jew just comes from Judah, but you also had instances where other tribes was called Jews also. In the scriptures. Right? Go ahead. Small point, but hey, you never know. You might be talking to somebody. Or teaching. It's just an extra point to bring up. Right? Go ahead.
Who have been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which have been carried away from Jeconiah, king of Judah, who Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Right, so he was carried away with the Babylonian captivity and then transferred over now into what? The Persian captivity. Because remember, Daniel prophesied Babylon, Medo-Persian, Greek, and then Roman. That was the four main kingdoms. Right, so from whenever one nation conquered another, they just took over that kingdom. All right, go ahead.
Verse 7, and he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter.
Right, so Esther was his cousin. A lot of times brothers get it confused and say uncle, but he was her cousin. Obviously, he was older than her, but he was actually her cousin, his uncle's daughter, her older cousin. Come on.
For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, who Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter.
Right, so as an older cousin, he took her on as his daughter. Come on.
So it came to pass, when the king's commandments and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan, the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
Right, so he was smitten by Esther. Okay? Right, go to Judah 10:19 real quick. Right, now Esther had to be fine, because they went through all throughout and got all the fair young, he said, find all the fair young virgins. So what happened? The Israelite woman was the fairest of all. Okay? Because out of all these women that he sought for, it says she just struck a chord with him. So Esther had to be bad. That was a bad Benjamite. Right? Right, go to Judah 10:19. Read that real quick.
The book of Judah, chapter 10, verse 19. Would everybody have to say, come on?
Judah 10:19 to link with Esther 2 and 9. Read, King.
Verse 19. And they wondered at her beauty and admired the children of Israel.
This is Judah. Judah was a Simeonite. Washington Heights, that's all I gotta say. Right, go ahead. Walk through there on a nice July afternoon, on a Sunday or something. I believe that right there. Right, go ahead. Right?
Judah chapter 10, verse 19. And they wondered at her beauty.
And they wondered at Judah's beauty. Come on.
And admired the children of Israel.
And they admired the children of Israel. Come on.
Because of her.
Because of Judah's beauty, right? Go ahead.
And everyone said to his neighbor, who would despise this people?
He said, who can hate these people? Go ahead.
That have among them such women.
If they women look like this, go ahead.
Surely it is not good that one man of them be left, who being left that might deceive the whole earth.
He said, listen, you could use these women to take down nations. We got to kill off all their men. If they got women this far amongst them, we got to kill off all their men. These guys, they can send these women to destroy our whole, cats that get smitten by these women. You know what I'm saying? Just like Jake in the street. Jake would have set somebody up, they get a pretty girl. Right? You know what I'm saying? The project, come see me in the projects. You know what I'm saying?
Don't go to the projects.
Go to the projects, you know what I'm saying? Right? As soon as you get in the lobby hallway, right? You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, them pretty chicks from the projects, that was the setup chicks, man. The gangster stick-up dudes, they use them to set dudes up. They'll get them cats up in here, and we'll do the rest. So the heathen was like, if they have women so beautiful amongst them, we got to kill off all they men. Because they would use their women to take down nations. These women are so gorgeous. God? Right, God?
Surely it is not good that one man of them be left, who being let go might deceive the whole earth. And they that lay near.
That's it on that. Judith 10:19 with Esther. Well, really Esther 2:8 through 11, because we're going to read down. Read verse 10, Esther 2 and 10. So you see that? Israel, man, we're the salt of the earth, even in beauty. Right? Who the most handsome men? The Israelite men. God? Other nations ain't got nothing on us, man. God? Right, go ahead.
They be having Brad Pitt, the sexiest man alive. Get out of here.
Man ain't got no melanin, man. Get out of here. Remember Muhammad Ali? Muhammad Ali said, man, I'm too pretty. I'm too pretty to get hit. Right? God, right?
I met Joe Frazier.
Right? Right? God. Right? Big, mean, ugly man.
Real quick, just to add to the elder's point. Yeah. Give me Sirach 9 and 8 real quick. Just to add to his point. To show you what can happen. You know what I mean?
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 9 and verse 8. Turn away thy eye from a beautiful woman.
Come on.
And look not upon another beauty.
Come on.
For many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman.
Because many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. So that means just turn away. And, no, it don't mean that, but it means just don't get caught up in her beauty. Many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. And that fell it. You see what I'm saying? That's the power that she got. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Go ahead,
right, that was Sirach 8 and 9, right? 9 and 8. Sirach 9 and 8 with Esther 2, 8 through 11 and Judith 10:19. Correct? Yeah, sister, that's where the phrase setup girls came from. Yeah, correct. Nas and Mobb Deep, they got a song like that on Nas' second album. The setup. They said, bless you with a shorty, and then we set you up. Yeah. So they said that he's rhyming about getting two pretty girls, and they take these dudes to the hotel, and then they go in the hotel and they rob the dudes and shoot them up. Yeah, it's on Nas' second album. It was written. It's called, the song is called, it's actually called The Setup. Yeah, it's him and Havoc. Havoc does the hook. Prodigy is not on there. Havoc does the hook, and it says, bless you with a shorty, then we set you up. Yeah. Right.
Everybody to come.
Right, set up girls, right?
And back in the days, that's what it was. Guys fell for the sisters, that little big ass earrings they had.
Right.
The Gucci bags, the little Reeboks.
Right.
Man, I love them.
Oh yeah, them Reeboks and them big earrings, and them tight Guess jeans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, come up. I live in 5E. Just when you come in the building, just turn right in the lobby and the elevator's right there, and just come up to 5E. No. Yo, at least meet me in the courtyard. You know what I'm saying? Because them dudes, I can see dudes if they go, I come up in that building, I'm not coming out. I'm not coming out. You know what I'm saying? Yo, the light not working in your building. Oh, it just go out sometime. You can still find the elevator. Nah. Now the light go out sometime. It's all right. Just go to the right. The elevator right there.
Yeah, intuition.
Right. No. Yeah, man. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the beauty of a woman have destroyed many men. Correct? Because you get so caught up in that beauty, and you'll do anything. Go to some dark, desolate place. Yeah, meet me over here, 1 o'clock in the morning, huh? You think about it? Yeah, she be like, I'm going out, kid. Man, you get there, man, dudes come out with ski masks on.
And it'd be so bad. Sometimes they would let you go in. You would think you get away.
Right.
They just call it.
Right.
They just call it and get in the truth. But by the time you come 2 hours later, you done.
You done.
They done call. Like, yo, this dude went up here, yo, all right, I'm over there.
Right.
When you come back down, it's a wrap, man.
Esau calls it thinking with the wrong head.
Right, correct. So read on.
Esther chapter 2 and verse 10. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
Right, so he said, don't tell the people that you're a Jew, you're an Israelite. Come on.
And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her.
Come on.
Now when every day's turn was come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that, she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the women. For so were the days of their purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil and of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purifying of the women.
We need to bring that back today. Khan, you got these sexy reds out here, and Sukihana, so we need to bring that purification process back. Khan, right, go ahead.
Then thus came every maiden.
And the Most High said in Isaiah 4, I know it was Isaiah 3, instead of sweet smell, it shall be stink. I didn't say it. Bring that purification back. God, we on.
Sexy red might need 2 or 3 years.
God, right?
Then thou came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of Shaashgaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but that, have ye the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed, and Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her.
Right, and let me say this, that was an upright thing that Mordecai did. He took his cousin, his younger cousin, as his daughter. Because her parents died. Okay? It tell you, I think in Sirach 4:10, we don't have to get it. It says, be like a father unto the fatherless. So that's an upright thing. We're supposed to do that. A lot of times, we allow our children to go into the system. You know what I'm saying? Or their parents that, I can't take care of another child. And, you know, let somebody adopt them. No, you're supposed to band together in the family. The nearest of kin is supposed to take on that child, man, if they lose their parents. Okay? Right, come on.
Read it on. Verse 16. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus, unto his house, royal in the 10th month, which is the month of Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that she set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti.
So Esther was the most fine and favorable in the sight of the king above all the young fair virgins. Right, come on.
Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandments of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
Right, she obeyed him like a daughter would obey a father. Right, come on.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chambermen, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus.
Now, when you later on in the story, you're going to find out that Haman set this up. Haman had an assassination plot against King Ahasuerus because the Greeks were trying to take over the Persian Empire preliminarily. Remember, it was supposed to be Alexander the Greeks in 333 BC, but they were Esau. He's always had that covetous spirit, so they were trying to take the Persian kingdom down beforehand. So it was an assassination plot on Ahasuerus for the Greeks to take over. Okay? Right, come on.
Verse 22. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisitions was made of the matter.
Right, because the spirit came on Mordecai, and you know, he didn't necessarily snitch, he told. Because later on, this is going to benefit Mordecai. So he told of the plot to assassinate the king. Go ahead.
And when inquisitions was made of the matter, it was found out, therefore, they were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
Right, so a lot of times they try to say, like, brothers will say, why do you celebrate Purim? That ain't in Leviticus 23, right? Because it's part of our history. And what proves that is, it lets you know it's written in the Chronicles of the Persian kings also. The history is in the Persian Chronicles. Like we got a book, 2 books of Chronicles. The history is also written in the Persian Chronicles. So you're going to say it's a lie in the Bible and it's a lie in the Persian Chronicles? Is within the so-called Persian history. Okay? So, you know, brothers say, well, why do you keep in Purim? It ain't in Leviticus 23. Why not? Where's the sin in acknowledging it as a feast and festival day? Okay? That the Most High added in the history. No, he didn't give it to Moses in the beginning, but the story had to happen for it to be added to the calendar. Okay? Right, read on. No, go to the Apocrypha.
Mordecai was ear hustling.
Okay. Mordecai was like, I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm going to get you devils in trouble. Y'all trying to kill the king. I'm going to use this to my advantage later on. Right, go to the rest of the books of Esther, page 55, where it says chapter 12. Page 55 in the Red Apocrypha. The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldee. These are just different additions to the story throughout history. All right, you got to go back and forth because it was certain things added throughout history. Read the rest of the chapters of the book of Esther, chapter 12. This is page 55. You got a Red Apocrypha. Read that. Who got it? You got a Red Apocrypha. Read that. Chapter 12.
This is the book of the rest of the chapters of Esther, chapter 55 and verse 12.
No, page 55, but it's chapter 12.
55 and verse 12.
Go ahead.
And
Mordecai's.
And Mordecai's took his
That's Mordecai's just written in the Greek. Right, or the Latin if you are looking at the Apocrypha. Right, come on.
And Mordecai's took his rest in the court with
Gabbatha and Thara.
The two
same names we just read in Esther 2. Go ahead.
The two eunuchs of the king and keepers of the palace. And he heard their devices and searched out their purposes.
Right, so like so Boaz said Mordecai was here husband. So you guys trying to kill the king. Right, go ahead.
Hold on.
You got it? Go ahead. Verse 2.
Verse 2. And he heard their devices and searched out their purpose and learned that they were about to lay hands upon Artaxerxes, the king.
Right, so he learned that it was an assassination plot. Come on.
The Artaxerxes, the king. And so he certified the king of them.
You see, yo, these cats trying to kill you. Y'all overheard it. These dudes trying to kill you, man. Right? Go ahead.
Then the king,
he was snitching in a good way in that light. Right? Go ahead. Because later on it's going to benefit Israel. Go ahead.
Then the king examined the two eunuchs.
He examined them. Right? He put that pressure on them and questioned them. Right? Go ahead.
Then the king examined the two eunuchs. And after that, they had confessed it. They were strangled.
Right, it said they was hung on a tree in Esther, but here it says they were strangled. I mean, they was hung on trees. Good.
And the king made a record of these things. And Mordecai also wrote thereof.
So there was records of this history. Come on.
So the king commanded Mordecai to serve in the court. And for this, he rewarded him.
Come on.
Howbeit a man, the son of Amadadeus.
This is Haman, the son of Amadattus. Is written, we're going to read it in how it's written in the Bible. This is Haman, though. Howbeit Haman, the son of Amadatha, go ahead.
The
Agagite, which came out of Amalek. Remember in 1 Samuel 15, Saul was supposed to wipe out the Amalekites, right? But he left Agag alive. Come on.
Who was in great honor with the king.
Come on.
Sought to molest Mordecai.
He sought to molest Mordecai. Come on.
And his people.
Now, but the word molest also means trouble, right? But with Esau, he probably actually wanted to molest Mordecai. But it said Haman was an Edomite. Haman came out of Amalek. Who's Amalek today? so-called white Jews, right? Right? So now, right, Haman came out of the Amalekites. These were Edomites, but they also later on became the Greeks. But what happened? They were trying to conquer and take the kingdom at that time. Okay? Right? Okay? So what happened? Give me verse 6 again.
Verse 6. Howbeit a man, the son of Amadeus, the son of Agagite, who was in the great honor with the king,
Come on.
sought to molest Mordecai and his people because of the 2 eunuchs of the king.
Now, why was Haman upset? And why did Haman want to trouble Mordecai and his people? Let me see who's thinking. Anybody? I gave the answer already. Sabal?
As revenge for King Saul receiving the order to wipe out the Amalekites.
Something else, though. I just mentioned it.
Repeat it?
Nope. No, because the Greeks were trying to take over the Persians at this time. So if Xerxes would have got assassinated, then Haman and the Edomites would have took over. Because he was next in command under Xerxes. Okay? So the Greeks would have had the kingdom early if Ahasuerus would have got assassinated. Okay? So that's why he's mad at Mordecai and say, now, I'm going to come after you and your people because you stopped me and my people from taking over. Okay? Like they could stop the assassination plot. We was going to be ruling. You know what I'm saying? I'm next in command. Now this nigga messed up the plan. So that's why I said Haman sought to molest Mordecai and his people, meaning trouble, and probably actually molest Mordecai and his people because of the 2 eunuchs. Because the 2 eunuchs, the assassination plot was found out and they got hung. Okay? So it's like you stopped my plan from taking over, so now I'm coming to get at you and your people. Okay? Since my people can't rule, now I'm going to get at you and your people. Everybody understand?
Okay.
So Esther chapter 12 in the Apocrypha goes after chapter 2 and 23 in the Bible. Okay? It adds more to the story of Mordecai falling the assassination plot. Everybody with me? Okay. Right, go back to Esther 3 and 1 in the Bible. It's tricky how you got to go back and forth between the Bible and the Apocrypha to link the story up. Okay? So this Edomite was mad now. Damn, man, it's gonna stop me and my people from taking over. What happens when somebody, when a leader gets assassinated or killed, the next person in command takes over? Like the president with the vice president, okay? So Haman was right up there with Xerxes. So had Xerxes would have died, he would have took over the kingdom. Okay? Right, read on. Esther 3 and 1.
Esther chapter 3 and verse 1. After these things, the king Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite,
Good.
and advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
Good.
And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence.
Right, so he said, listen, man, the king is even giving me more status now. And now this dude, Mordecai, won't bow down to me? He said he's giving me even more. I was already a great, honorable man. Now he's elevating, he's making everybody acknowledge, look, Haman is my man. He's right up here with me. And Mordecai said, no, I'm not bowing down to you. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Verse 3. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
Go ahead.
Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew.
He said, look, man, I'm a Jew, man. I don't bow to no man. Okay? I worship the God of Israel. I bow down to no man. Okay? Also in the history, when you read, it's just some alternative history, it doesn't necessarily say it here, but some of the historians say that Haman had a ring on his finger that had a demonic image on it. And he wanted Mordecai to bow down and kiss the ring. And that's really why Mordecai didn't bow down. And it's just some, like I said, I read a lot about Purim over the years. That's just some history that the scholars say that's not put in the scriptures. Remember, a lot of times the scriptures get read direct to the point. It don't mean the scriptures is off. It's just you got to get certain other history that it may not tell everything. It's just telling the story from a broad spectrum. Okay? But what happened is it said that's like that Pope spirit, right? The white popes, right? Because now they do this AI thing. It made the popes black, which the original church fathers technically weren't black. Like Peter was like the first church father because he was the head apostle. Okay? But when that's like the Pope. Remember, I think they said Riddick Bowe bowed down and kissed the Pope's ring. Yeah, Riddick Bowe, and he came to school later on, but he wanted him and he wanted Mordecai to bow down and kiss this demonic image ring he would wear. That's what some of the history says. It doesn't necessarily mention in the scriptures, but that can make sense also. Haman and Mordecai's like, I'm not bowing down to you, and I'm definitely not bowing down and kissing some demonic image. Okay? Right? But I'm not bowing to any man. I only bow to the most high power of Israel. If anything, you nations bow to us. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
He said, listen, after the king done even acknowledged me more, I was already a top and honorable man, and the king acknowledged me even more and said, every man reverence Haman. And you don't come and bow down to me after the king said I'm his top man? After you just tried to kill him? Because see, now Mordecai know. You know, Mordecai know, look, you just a mortal man. I'm not bowing to you. And I know you probably set up the king to try to have him assassinated. Those 2 eunuchs were sent by you. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Verse 6. And he thought, scorned to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him, the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
Now, why you got to destroy the whole nation? Your beef is with Mordecai. You see how Esau is? Okay? Right? Now, unless I'm going to destroy him and all his people. Right? Come on.
Verse 7.
That genocide spirit. Right? Go ahead.
In the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast her, that is, the lot.
That's the name, hence the name of the feast. Purim or pure, which means lots. Come on.
Before Haman, from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is, the month of Adar.
Not December.
Right, go ahead.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people.
Right, showing you that we can keep the law in captivity. Okay? To the best of our ability, we can rehearse the righteous acts. Because we're in Persian captivity, but it says these people have laws that are diverse from any people. Meaning we got the commandments of Yahweh. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Neither keep the king's laws.
We don't follow Yahweh's ways. We follow the ways of the God of Israel. Come on.
Therefore, it is not for the king's prophet to suffer.
So now Haman is trying to get in the king's head and be like, these people are contrary to us anyway. So we might as well get rid of them and do away with them. Come on.
Verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the house, to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasuries. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, and the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman.
So he said, look, I'm willing to pay a ransom for these people, man. Right? 10,000 talents of silver to have them destroyed. Go ahead.
And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemed good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called unto the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of the king Ahasuerus was it written, and sealed with the king's ring.
Right, see that? So this was put out amongst all the kingdom. Imagine now the Biden say kill all so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This was the same thing back then, right? And then they sent a message out to the whole world, right? Kill off all the Israelites, God, right? So it was a decree of extermination against our people. All this because of this Edomite's pride. God, right? Go ahead.
Verse 13. And the letter.
No, go to Esther, chapter 13 of the Apocrypha, page 55. Chapter 13.
It's like during Christ's birthday, they did the same thing.
Did the same thing, God. Right? During the time of Moses, they did the same thing. When they said kill all the male children during the time of Moses, right? God? And they did the same thing during the time of Yahushua. So show you these nations hate us. And during the time of Moses, that was Ham. Then during the time of Yahushua, that was the Romans. Now, during the time of Xerxes, this is the Persians and the Edomites. But he just going along with the plan because he feel like Hammond is his right-hand man. So he like, yeah, these people, yeah, man, they not good for our kingdom. Yeah, whatever, man. Yeah, destroy them. It's all right. You know, so he's like, I trust your judgment. Go ahead, destroy them. Got it? Right, go ahead. The wicked plot and scheme in Esau. Esther chapter 13 in the Apocrypha. Where page 55 where it says, placed in the Greek after chapter 3:13 of the Hebrew.
Yeah, the 13th chapter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Verse 13, verse 1. The copy of the letters were this: the great king Artaxerxes. Artaxerxes. Writeth these things to the princes and governors.
Salakia, Baruch. The Wi-Fi. Yeah, can you write it down for me? All right. Yeah, go ahead.
Things to the princes and the governors that are under him from India unto Ethiopia, in 120 provinces. Verse 2. After that, I became Lord over many nations and had dominion over the whole world, not lifted up with presumptions of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I purpose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable, and open for passage to the utmost coast, to renew peace, which is desired of all men.
Right. So Xerxes is giving his own resume now. Like I'm this such great peaceful king. Like I'm such a great peaceful king and ruler. Yeah, any king gonna say that now that you in power, as long as it can stay that way. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 3.
I want peace. I want to renew peace, which is desired of all men, of course, because you don't want no uproar in your kingdom. Of course you want peace. Right? Go ahead.
Now, when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, a man that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant good will and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom.
See that Haman had the honor of second place in the kingdom. So naturally, Xerxes died, Haman takes over. Right? Come on.
Verse 4. Declare unto us that in all the nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people.
Now you're going to put 20s, like they say on the West Coast. Put 20s on Israel now. They're scattered a malicious people. Right? Come on.
That had laws contrary to all nations.
They have laws contrary to all nations. Just like now, what's some strings on your clothes? What you mean you don't celebrate Christmas? What? You don't eat pork? What kind of Negro don't celebrate Thanksgiving? You ain't getting no turkey and stuff. What's wrong with you? Right? Even to our people, right? Our laws seem strange, right? Why don't women dress like that, looking all old? Right? Why you don't dress like Sexy Red? Right? Well, girl, let it hang out. Girl, what's wrong with you? Take that old looking skirt and dress off, God. Girl, put you a mini skirt on. You looking all old, God? And that's BS, man. I'm not just saying that. The sisters look beautiful when they dress modest, man. But they just want you out there looking ratchet because that's what the world expects of you. And you know what? That whole dress code is to not have respect for our women. Because if our women are dressed like that, they don't have to respect them. But a lot of sisters say when they modest, they get more respect from men. Right. You know, men don't even approach them in really in a fight. Or that's the Muslim sister. Yo, respect her. They always think everybody's a damn Muslim. Right? That's the Muslim sister. Respect the sister. Right? No, that's modest Hebrew apparel. Right? But a lot of times, a lot of sisters in the truth, they say, listen, man, I don't really have no issues when I'm dressed modestly. You know what I'm saying? Brothers actually be respectful. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Read it on. And continually despise the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdom, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward.
Well, so they basically said, look, you know, they were thorn in our side for our kingdom to continue on in peace. Right? But that's a lie, because all Israel really wanted to do was serve the Most High and keep the commandments. Right? Come on.
Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, differing in the strange manner of their laws.
Yeah, these people, they just against everything. They got these strange laws they follow. You know what I'm saying? What you mean you celebrate Hanukkah? You ain't Jewish. Right? Like I said, even our people, they look at us as strange. Okay? Right, go ahead.
And evil affected to our state. Working all.
What's the page though? Xfinity?
Let me look at it.
So basically, what's going on here is, see, what Haman is trying to Haman. What Haman is trying to do right now is Haman is trying to take over the kingdom. And he's trying to rush the process for the Greeks to take over the kingdom. And what he's trying to do right now is, as they say in today's vernacular, he's trying to put a battery in Artaxerxes' back to commit genocide on our people. So that's why he's saying, oh, you know, like he's saying, check this out. It's these people that go contrary to your rules and your laws. They don't want to do nothing you tell them to do. You know, if they come through, you know, they get to be enough of them. One day they might try to take over the kingdom. And so if you want to keep peace in the kingdom and you don't want no uprising, what you got to do is, yo, you these strange people that I'm telling you about, you got to take them out. You got to take these people and you got to get them up out of here. And that's what's going on. As H.O.I is reading, that's what Haman's trying to do right now. That's the basic thing of it. That's what it all boils and breaks down to. Haman is trying to put a battery in Ahasuerus' back to commit genocide on the nation of Israel. One, good Lord, had King Saul done that when the Lord told him to in 1 Samuel 15, we wouldn't be dealing with these people now.
Right.
You wouldn't walk through Williamsburg and Crown Heights and Midwood and be upset, because it's the biggest case of identity theft the world has ever seen.
Oh, right here in Farrakhan, Bayswater.
Where?
Bayswater.
I don't know about Bayswater, but actually, if you go all the way into Long Island, like Lawrence, there's a whole lot of them in 5 towns too.
Yeah, Beach 9, all that area there.
Yeah, Lawrence and Hewlett and Inwood, all of that.
Con. So where we at? Read on.
Read on.
Read on.
And evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established.
Right, so Sabal said it perfectly. He's trying to put a battery in his back. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified and invited unto you by Haman, who is ordained over the affairs and is next to us, shall all, with their wives and children, be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies, without all the mercy and pity, and 14th day of the 12th month of Adar of this present year, that they who of old and now also are malicious may in one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble.
Right, so go back to chapter 3, verse 14 in the Bible. All right, we're gonna jump around a little bit soon, just for the sake of time, but we're gonna cover as much as we can. Okay? Great story, very vast, man. You know, you should read this throughout the year. You don't just have to read it around Purim. Great and in-depth and vast story. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Esther chapter 3, verse 14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day.
Right, so when the scriptures was written, certain parts had to be added on later on because now they found documents. What we just read is the actual letter that Xerxes wrote. And they inserted it in like this is what the letter actually said. Okay? Right, but some parts of the scripture just get right to the point. Go ahead.
Verse 15. The post went out, being hasted by the king's commandments, and the decree was given into Shushan, the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed.
So the man said, yeah, give me some wine now. About to get these Jews destroyed and exterminated. Right, come and sit down with my man Xerxes and get this drink, man. Yeah, my man about to put the decree out and kill these Jews. Dude wouldn't bow down to me? And he messed up my assassination plot? Yeah, let's have a drink, man. These dudes about to be wiped out. God? Esau's the devil. Right, chapter 4, verse 1.
Chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry.
Right? Listen, the leader of the known world at that time just put out a decree for our people to be exterminated. To every nation and people on the earth. In all of his kingdom. God? Right, God?
And it came even before the king's gate. For none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province, whithersoever the king commanded and his decree came, there was a great mourning among Jews, and fasting and weeping, and wailing, and many laid in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther, maids, and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him. But he received it not. Then called Esther to Hatchat, one of the king's chamberlain, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know that it was and why it was. So Hatach went forth to Mordecai into the streets of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the monies that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy him.
Right, see, that's what he was going to pay a ransom for Israel be destroyed. Remember, it was 10,000 talents of silver. I think they said that's like 160 million today. Yeah, in today's money is like $160 million. So that was the ransom, the price on the head of Israel during that time, 161 million, something like that. Right, go ahead.
Verse 8. Also, he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given to Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to change her that she
charge her.
To charge her that she should go in unto the king, to make supplications unto him, and to make requests before him for her people.
Right, so Mordecai said, look, you got to do something, and you got to reverse this decree that's put upon us. Because it was a law, in a Persian law, once a decree was made, it couldn't be reversed. Right, only but by another decree. The king would have to make a whole nother decree to reverse that decree. Okay? Right, come on.
Verse 9. And Hatchet.
I just wanted to point out, you should read these stories and see how subtle they are. Because what's going on now is the same thing happening now when that woman said that the Jews is a greater threat. The young black man in the black community is a bigger threat than even Hamas. Those are what they're doing, the same tactics to cause the world to go up against us. So you see that this is a familiar thing. That's why the scriptures also say, go back to history. History repeats itself, right? With the same tactics. Go ahead.
Kind. Right? Remember, what was that other thing they called us? Super predators. Right? Remember that? Hillary Clinton, man. Called us super predators. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 9. And Hatchet came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again, Esther spake unto Hatchet, and gave him commandments unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the peoples of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live. But I have not been called to come unto the king these 30 days. And they told Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall there enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place.
So he said, look, this is not about you. The Most High can deliver us regardless. And don't think because you're the queen. Remember, you were the queen, but you're a Jew. And the order is to kill off all Jews. So you're going to be killed. You're probably going to be one of the first ones to be killed. Because you're in the king's house. So he said, don't think because you're up there, this don't apply to you also. And if you're not going to go and do this, the Most High going to deliver us another way. The Most High got another way to deliver us. But I'm saying you're in a position to deliver us. Go ahead.
But thou,
it's just like when Joseph was sold into Egypt. Remember when Joseph was sold into Egypt? Later on, the Most High used him. Used him to show favor to his same brethren that sold him into Egypt. Okay? And the Most High do think, that's why, like Taraz said, you got to read these stories. Because the Most High will happen. He will have it happen in an awkward way just to show you it's still his power. Okay? Like, you know, to men, be like, damn. But at the end, it's all of the Most High. Okay? My thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are my ways your ways. Okay? Right, come on.
But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Woman's goings are of the Lord.
How you know the Lord didn't put you in this position for this time, to be in a position of diplomacy to plead for your people so we can be delivered from this decree of extermination. Right, come on.
Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish.
Okay, so he said, go on a 3-day fast for me, because I'm about to do something that's not according to the law, but that the Most High and the angels will be with me when I go in unto the king, because I got to go in and try to have this decree reversed. Come on.
So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
Verse 5, chapter 5.
Verse 5, chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put
Salakia, eventually we're going to jump up a little bit. I'm just trying to get the gist of the point, but then we're going to jump up for the sake of time. Y'all read the whole story on your own. Now, in order for you to fill in from the Bible to Apocrypha, you just got to read it carefully. It instructs you where to fit the story in back and forth. Okay? You can't be lazy when you read this story, because you got to pay attention and look what parts got to link in where. Okay? You can't just read through it. Okay, that's the story. And no, you got to pay attention, because it goes back. I'm not getting all the parts now for the sake of time, but it goes back and forth between the Bible and Apocrypha. Okay? Right, go ahead.
Esther chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the 3rd day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house.
You know when that Israelite woman get dressed up. Right, come on.
Over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight.
Yeah. I'm saying, it looked like she's already beautiful. She went and got even more done up. Come on.
And the king held out to...
Right.
I'm saying for this one, got good.
Right? So why you don't recognize Eve? Like, yo, sis, that's you? Right, come on. Go ahead.
And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, what would thou, Queen Esther?
See, she got her with her beauty. Right? Good old-fashioned beauty. You know how a man get weak in his knees for that beauty of a woman. Okay? That's what the scriptures tell you, the apocrypha stumble not at the beauty of a woman. Right? Come on.
Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
That man was finished, man. That man, I said to give you half of my kingdom. Damn, Esther had to be fine, man. Fine Benjamin gown. Right? Go ahead.
And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
So come on, get some food and drink and come, let me sit down and talk to you. Kind of just butter it up even more. Come on.
Then the king said,
make a good looking Benjamite.
Good.
Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do it as Esther had said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right, she probably made some oxtails for him. Right?
Some curry goat.
Some curry goat, God. Right? Some jerk chicken, right? Come on. It said the banquet that Esther had prepared. Good. Right? But she's in a high position. She probably didn't have to do nothing, right? Go ahead.
Verse 6. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition?
Now, what more? How much more to get to a man? She's beautiful. She got a food and drink laid out for him. And she like, come on, sit down, let's talk. God? Right, go ahead.
And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said.
That's funny. We said she probably made some oxtails or jerk chicken or curry goat, and Shemaiah just popped up on the live. You can't make this up, right? Shemaiah dumb. Jerk chicken and oxtail and tea. Curry chicken. Jerk chicken, right? He just popped up literally on the live. Right? Raw tea, right? Good. Oxtail, cabbage. Rice and peas, cabbage, plantain. Right? Good.
Verse 9. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai.
Right. So look, man, this dude, I respect this dude. Right, come on.
Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself. And when he had came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh, his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king.
So Haman said, I'm this top man in the kingdom. I got riches, I got friends, I got power, I'm second in command under the king. Come on.
Haman said, moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself.
Nobody else was worthy to roll with Xerxes but me. Into the queen's banquet she prepared for him. I'm the man. Go ahead.
And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king? Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
And that's Esau's spirit now, man. He got the world, he got power, he got the riches, but he don't want to see us with a damn thing. Right? He don't want to see us with nothing. He don't even want to give you public assistance, man. Man don't even want to give Israel food stamps. Right? He got everything, but don't want to see. You got $100 billion. You can give me $1 million and I'll be straight. But he don't. That's when somebody that got more than you still hate on you. By his pride and ego said, listen, as long as I see this Negro with any breathing breath.
That's that Jacob and Esau.
Yeah, man. It said, all this availeth me nothing as long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. And that's the same thing right now, man. They hate us because they hate us. Right. No matter how much Esau got, he can't beat us because he hate our guts. Go ahead. Right, go ahead.
Verse 14. Then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him. Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon.
I think 50 cubits is about 75 feet in the air. So this is a gallows. You know, they said, let a gallows be made that they may, that you might hang Mordecai. Come on.
Then go
Esau with that lynching spirit. Go ahead.
Then go thou and merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
You see that? You see his wife? Yeah, hang that Negro, and then go have the banquet with the king. Remember that when you read books like Without Sanctuary, 100 Years of Lynching, and Esau used to lynch us and then have the barbecue around us, right? They would lynch us, the picnic, right? They would have the picnic around us, pick a nigga off the tree. Right, same thing. She said, hang the nigga and go have a party. Just back then, they used to hang us and then have the party around us. Y'all seen the pictures? We had them for years out there on the signs. Right, they came out with, I remember, I went to that exhibit, that book, Without Sanctuary. They had an exhibit for it at this museum near Hunter College, like on 67th Street or something like that. Some little small museum over there. And they had a exhibit based upon the book, right? It's called Without Sanctuary, right? About the hangers and lynches. And they show you in that book, even in that book, how they would lynch and hang Jake, and they would make postcards out of it. They would have picnics around the body. Same thing, same spirit. His wife telling him, look, hang the nigga and go have a banquet. God, the same thing, man. Just back then, they used to do it around our bodies. I mean, you know, we've seen the pictures of lynchings for years of the Edomite smiling, little Edomite girls smiling around the body. Right? Yeah, man. They making postcards out of it. Look, we lynched, we hung nigga Jim the other day. Right? How are you and Dorothy and them in Alabama? Good? Yeah, man, making postcards out of them. So, same spirit. Nah, just hang the nigga 75 feet in the air and then go have drinks of wine and eat with the king. Right? Good.
Esther chapter 6, verse 1. On that night, could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hands on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants to that minister unto him, there is nothing done for him. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servants told unto him, behold, Haman standeth in the court. And the king said, let him come in.
Okay, right, go ahead.
And so Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to thyself? And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the...
Wow.
Shalom.
Speak of an angel.
Shalom. Right, go ahead. He's watching on his way here. Right, go ahead.
And
with the jerk chicken, correct.
And Haman answered to the king, for the man whom the king delighted to honor, let the royal apparel be brought with the king, user to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal, which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hands of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal, whom the king delighted to honor, and bring him on horseback through the streets of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the king, done to the man whom the king delighted to honor.
So Haman is like, it must be me. So he like, man, give him the royal apparel. He's setting all this thing up because he thinks it's him. Right? He thinks it's him that the king wants to honor. So he's like, do all these things for a man that the king want to honor. Good.
Verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew.
So now this is the last straw for Haman. Wait a minute. He stopped my assassination plot, right? He wouldn't bow down to me. Now I got to parade him around and honor him according to the commandment of the king. That's supposed to be for me. I'm the second in command, right? Come on. You know, Esau's pride must have been killing him, right? Come on.
That sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Then took Haman the king's apparel. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the streets of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighted to honor.
Right, so Xerxes said, look, nothing, he was never given a reward for saving my life. So now you see how the Most High work? The Most High is a master. He said, you hate his guts, but I'm going to have you say everything that should be done to the man that should be honored, thinking it's you. And now you got to do that to your worst enemy. That's you, Mordecai. Right, come on. Most High's a mastermind. Good.
Verse 12. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted to his house mourning and having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh, his wife, unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him.
Now, what is his own wife? His wife said, wait a minute, I thought you were saying to hang him. Now she said, uh-oh, wait a minute. He's a Jew. The Jews got their God fighting for them. And no matter what you do, you won't prevail against them. And Zeresh, more than likely, it doesn't say it, but more than likely, Zeresh was an Edomite also. More likely than not. And the Most High even had her. What is that showing you? The Most High could put the spirit even on the nations to acknowledge his power. She just said, no matter what you do, he's of the seed of the Jews. God will prevail for them. Okay? So he can put the spirit even on the heathen, even on Esau. Like I said, it doesn't really say it, but more likely than not, Zeresh was probably an Edomite also. And the Lord put this, after saying, hang the Negro and go have a picnic, right? I'm just saying it like that. But no, if he be able to see the Jews, you can't do nothing against him. Hubby. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 14. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right, jump down to chapter 7, verse 7. We're going to start jumping around a little bit, y'all, for the sake of time. But you see that Esther 6:13, that's no joke, man. She said, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him. She said, if he's of the stock of the Jews, there's nothing you can do against him. Okay?
That's the same thing that happened in the book of Judith.
Okay.
That was laying it out. Listen, if these people don't sin, you can't mess with them. You ain't gonna win.
Right. That was I think that was the Ammonite. The Ammonite that was saying that. He was like, you know, if their God, like I said, I go to show you, the Most High can even put the spirit on a heathen to acknowledge his power. Okay? We know that salvation and they're not the chosen, but the Lord can raise up anybody and put that spirit on them to acknowledge his power, even a heathen. Right? Go ahead.
Esther chapter 7, verse 7. And the king arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath went into the palace garden.
Because now Esther had told him the plot that Haman had wickedly set up against them. Y'all can read verses 1 through 6 on your own. Go ahead.
And Haman stood up to make request for his life to Esther, the queen. For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Right, so Xerxes' spirit has changed now. He said, you want to destroy my woman and her people? Are you serious? Right, go ahead.
Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine. And Haman was fallen upon the bed whereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house?
So he said, now you trying to take my woman? What you doing on her bed, man? You trying to be with my woman? So the Most High is turning Xerxes' spirit down. Now Xerxes is like, yo, this dude is off, man. Right, go ahead.
As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face.
Right, remember, you see those videos of the lynchings and stuff here in America. One day they would cover people's head a lot of times, okay? Not all the time, but you would see sometimes they would cover, especially when they would hang them on the gallows. Right, they would cover their heads up and then lynch them, okay? Right, so they did the same thing unto Haman. They covered Haman's face. Come on.
Verse 9. And Harbona, one of the chamberlains, set before the king, behold, also the gallows 50 cubits high, 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who has spoken good for the king, standing in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon.
Come on.
So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified.
Mosai said, where you intended to kill Mordecai, you'll kill the same exact way. Matter of fact, the gallows you made for him, you're going to be hung on that same gallows.
It was at that moment Haman knew he messed up.
God, right? You know, you're up now, right? You're up now, right? Right? Go to jump up to 8 and 15. Chapter 8, verse 15. Y'all can read chapter 8, verses 1 through 14 on your own, and link in the rest of the books of Esther in the Bible. You know, link it in. You know, you got to, like I say, you got to study it meticulously to see how to link it in. Read, King. Esther 8 and 15.
Esther 8 and 15. And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel.
So now this is when Mordecai is raised up. The decree to destroy all of Israel is reversed to bring down upon the heathen. And now Mordecai is going to be in position under the king. Y'all can fill in the blanks, read the rest of the story on your own. Good.
And Mordecai went out from the presence of the king in royal apparel of blue and white, and with a great crown of gold, and with a garment of fine linen and purple.
And see, Mordecai, he didn't have to be sneaky and mischievous and put another nation down. He just told the truth. And he got rewarded for it and elevated by the Most High. Come on.
And the city of Shushan rejoiced and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor. And in every province and in every city, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had joy and gladness, a feast and a good day. And many of the people of the land became Jews, for the fear of the Jews fell upon them.
Right, so what does that mean? They didn't become Israelites by blood and seed, meaning they converted to our customs. Okay? That's why you have now, like, you'll find, what was that thing we went to in the Hebrews to Negroes? It's not to put the brothers' research or nothing down, but he had all these different people from different lands that had Jewish customs, that had Hebrew customs. But that don't necessarily mean that they Israelites. A lot of them can be descended from this time that still kept the customs of Israel. It's just like any religion. It's just like you got different nations that are in Islam. Okay? You got different nations that are Christians. So, like I said, this is not to knock the brothers' research or nothing, but we noticed when we was watching the documentary, you got all these short, funny-looking people, all these different lands. See, these are Jews. No. One possibility, there's just one possibility, is that they could have been all the way from back during this time period, because all the heathens was in captivity under Xerxes. It said many of the people became Jews. If you're an Edomite, you can't become an Israelite. If you're a Hamite, you can't become an Israelite. So how did they become us? They converted to our customs. And you got these brothers that's afraid to mention anything about the Gentiles. Brothers say that's scattered Israelites. You know how ridiculous that sounds? Why would it say many of the people became Jews because of the Jews fell on them if they were scattered Israelites following heathen customs? That makes no sense. At least to me it doesn't. Okay? It wouldn't be written that way. So it had to be other nations adapting to our customs. Remember when you read about, and you read it said, I think it was with the Babylonian king, it said the king has become a Jew. I think it's Bel and the dragon. That though he was still a Babylonian, they said, wait a minute, he's serving a God of Israel now. He's taking on the Hebrew customs. So it don't mean a Moabite can't become an Israelite. When it said many of the people became Jews, meaning they said, we want to serve their God because we see the power of their God. We want to be like them. That's all it's talking about. Okay? You can't make everybody in the Bible a scattered Israelite. There got to be some heathens. Okay? Brothers are, no, that's scattered Israelites. That makes no sense whatsoever. Not what to me it doesn't. Knock yourself out, whatever you want to believe. But it just doesn't make sense. Why would Israelites following foreign customs become Israelites? Because the fear of the Israelites came on them. That don't make any sense. Okay?
Jeremiah 16 and 19 too. When it says, surely our fathers have inherited lies, that don't make no sense to turn around and say those are the Gentiles, saying that we inherited lies. I mean, you can't do that. It just, my brothers is doing that. They say that that's talking about the Gentiles are saying,
you know
Israel is saying we inherited lies.
Right. That's Israelites in a Gentile state of mind. Because you know what it is? Because now brothers they get tripped up by Christians and stuff with the New Testament arguments. So it makes the Gentile argument easier when you make everybody a Gentile, when you make everybody a scattered Israelite. Right. It makes the Gentile argument easier, but it's easy to debate them Christians when they come with certain scriptures. You just gotta know you gotta know the precepts to go to. That's all. And then here's the key. Here's the secret. Don't ever let nobody take you out of your argument. That's what it be. Brothers be letting people take them out of their argument. Stay within your argument and your understanding. But don't make everybody in the Bible, every Gentile a scattered Israelite. Then where do the natural Gentiles fit in? Okay? So you got to balance it out. And, well, that's at least. I'm going to be humble about it. That's the way I see it. But Jeremiah 16:19, that's scattered Israelites. Zechariah 8 and 20, that's scattered Israelites. Esther 8 and 17, 16, that's scattered Israelites. Come on. So there's no natural Gentiles. So you think Zeresh just said you can't prevail against the Jews if their God is with them. So you don't think there was some heathens that wanted to adapt to our customs, seeing that the Lord was with us? Okay? It don't make sense. You just want to make everybody in the Bible an Israelite. Okay? Right? So jump to 9 and 1 now.
I'm like the Israelite.
The book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 1. Now in the 20th month, that is the month of Adar, on the 13th day of the same, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, in the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had ruled over them that hated him.
So now we got the power to defend ourselves, so the decree was reversed. Come on.
The Jews gathered themselves together in their cities throughout all the provinces of the kings Ahasuerus, to lay hands on such as sought their hurt.
Because look, Haman had turned all the people against us. Go ahead.
And no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people.
Come on.
And all the rulers of the provinces, and the lieutenants, and the deputies, and the officers of the king helped the Jews, because of the fear of Mordecai fell upon them.
And that's another thing. The fear of Israel fell upon these nations. Right? When somebody's in fear, they're going to reference you. Right? Come on.
For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went out throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater.
Kind of said the same thing about the prophets, said the same thing about Yahushua. Right? It said the same thing about the servants in the last days. The Lord said, I'm going to get thee fame and praise in every land you was put to shame. Right? Come on.
Thus the Jews.
Not famous for dancing up on Alicia Keys. Right? Right? Go ahead. You're going to be famous for righteousness. Right? Come on. And wisdom, God. Right?
Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughtered and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. And in Shushan the palace, the Jews slew and destroyed 500 men. And Parshahethra, and Dalphon, and Asatha, and Partha, and Adalia, and Aradata, and Parmashta, and Harishah, and Hadiah, and Vajesta, the 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hamadah, the enemies of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoils laid they not their hand.
And we got to give H.O.I a round of applause. He's one of the first brothers I see read through them names without stumbling. Every year since I've been in the truth, whoever's reading from me stumbled on them names. He read right through them and pronounced them pretty correct. Good? All praises. Good. Brothers be giving up the ghost when it comes to chapter 7. I mean verse 7. 7 through 10. Right? Good.
Verse 11. On that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan, the palace was brought before the king. And the king said unto Esther, the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan, the palace. And the 10 sons of Haman, that have they done the rest of the king's promises. Now what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee, or what is thy request further? And it shall be done. Then said Esther, if it please the king, let it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan, to do tomorrow also accordingly unto this day decrease. And let Haman's 10 sons be hanged unto the gallows.
Right, so it said, look, not only Haman got hung, but hang his 10 sons to cut his line off. Cut? You know, cut off his line in case any of his sons want to raise up and take the fight further for their father. Cut? So kill him and kill off all his line. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given to Shushan. And they hanged Haman's 10 sons.
Yeah, get rid of him and all his seed line. Go ahead.
For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th day also of the month of Adar.
Right, that was last night. We celebrate the 14th of Adar or the 12th month. Come on.
And slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey they laid not their hand.
Don't take the spoils yet. Go ahead.
But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives and had rest from their enemies and slew of their foes 70 and 5,000. But they laid not their hands on the prey.
Go ahead.
On the 13th day of the month of Adar, and on the 14th day of the same rested day, and made it a day of feasting and gladness.
Come on.
But the Jews that were at Shushan assembled together on the 13th day thereof, and on the 14th thereof, and on the 15th day of the same day rested, and made it a day of feasting and gladness. Therefore, the Jews of the villages that dwelt in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of the month of Adar a day of gladness and feasting, and a good day, and sending portions one to another.
Right, so you can give gifts during this time on the Feast of Purim. Okay? That was our main gift giving time. I know some of Israel give gifts during Feast of Dedication or Hanukkah, and the over-righteous Israelites say, you just trying to be like Christmas. There's no sin in giving a gift for Hanukkah. Okay? You can say all you want. You can pull a million scriptures. Is no sin. And abstain from all appearance of evil. That don't apply in that. Because you can say, look, I'm giving this gift as a Hebrew for our true feast day, not for no Christmas. It's just Christmas happens to happen during our Hanukkah season. Let's not be subject to Christmas. Christmas is subject to Hanukkah. It falls around our season, and Hanukkah don't fall around its season. Okay? So you got these Israelites, these hyper-righteous Israelites that are trying to condemn you. There's nothing wrong with it, but the time where it mentions that we gave gifts to one another is Purim. Go ahead.
Verse 20.
And in verse 18 it says the 13th, 14th, and 15th. But the 2 days that were made days of celebration was the 14th and 15th. But the Lord came back years later during the Greek captivity and made the 13th day the destruction of Nicanor. God? By Hashem, so the Lord said, I'm going to still make all 3 of them days significant. Right? Hundreds of years later, during the Greek captivity, y'all going to chop off damn Nicanor's head, just like y'all hung Haman on the damn gallows. God? By Hashem, right, God?
Verse 20. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in all the provinces of the kings Ahasuerus, both nigh and far.
All Israel, everywhere, right? All throughout the known world at that time, it was decreed to acknowledge and keep the Feast of Purim. Come on.
To establish this among them, that they should keep the 14th day of the month of Adar, and the 15th day of the same yearly, as the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, in the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into the good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor.
Right, you can give out gifts to the poor also. Come on.
And the Jews undertook to do as they had begun, and as Mordecai had written unto them. Sorry,
y'all. I meant to give some gifts, but I didn't have time. So my gift is my presence. We are the gifts to each other. Good. I wanted to, but time is just so much going on. Right? Good.
Verse 24. Because Haman, the son of Hamadath, the Agagite, the enemies of all the Jews.
Right, see that? So Amalek, that comes out of Esau, is our enemy. Agag goes back to Amalek. Amalek, Genesis 36, goes back to Esau. Esau is a so-called white man. They don't even try that doctrine no more. Esau's not the white man. We crushed that thing so bad. I don't even hear it come up no more, okay? Or Esau's the Arabs, right? We cut that doctrine so bad, they don't even bring it up no more. I don't even hear it no more. Right, come on.
Had devised against the Jews to destroy them, and had cast Pur, that is, the lot.
Right, par yum in the ancient, or par in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Par singular, par yum plural. Lot or lots. Lot meaning fate or destiny. Come on.
To consume them and to destroy them. But when Esther came before the king, she commanded by letters that his wicked device, which he devised against the Jews, should return upon his own head.
Good.
And that he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
What did the Lord say?
That he and his sons should be hanged on the gallows.
Go to Psalms real quick. Go to Psalm chapter 7. Let me see what I want. Go to Psalm 7 and 15. Everybody have it? Say Khan.
Psalm chapter 7 verse 15.
Psalm chapter 7 verse 15. Read.
He made a pit and digged it, and it is fallen into the ditch which he made.
He made a pit and digged it, and is fallen into the ditch which he made. Go ahead.
His mischief shall return upon his own head.
Come on.
And his violent dealings shall come down upon his own pate.
The pate is the top of your head. So Haman was the top of the Edomites at the time. So what he conspired against Mordecai, it came down on him. Khan? So Psalm 7, 15 and 16 with with Esther 9:25. Khan? Psalm 7, 15 and 16 with Esther 9:25. Shemaiah down.
Proverbs 10 and 8.
Right, read Proverbs 10 and 8 real quick. And we're going to wind it down for the sake of time. It's Friday night, but we still want to have a little time to fellowship. Karen? Y'all know H.O.I. We go long. We go long. We go late and long. Right? Go ahead, read that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 10 and verse 8. The wise in his heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall.
No, Shalaki is he doesn't dig it a pit. What is that?
Psalms 35. Psalms 35.
He doesn't dig it a pit shall fall.
We just read it.
35.
We just read it in Psalms and Psalm 7.
No,
that was 7 and 15. We just read it. Read it again. Read Psalm 7:15 again. Unless you're looking for a different one.
Yeah. 26 and 27.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Proverbs 26, 27?
Yeah.
Proverbs 26 and 27.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 26 and verse 27, and it reads, Whoso diggeth a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolleth in stone, it will return upon him.
Yeah, so pretty much, Haman digs a pit. Or he built a gallows.
Right,
he built a gallows, God.
Hung on it. So,
God, he rolled a stone and it rolled back down on him. God?
Real quick, Psalms 35 and 8 real quick.
Okay, yeah, that was Proverbs 26 and 27.
the book of Psalm chapter 35 and verse 8. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. And into that very destruction let him fall.
Right.
Correct. It's plain as day. You reap what you sow. Correct? Right? So that's basically what that's saying. Go back to Esther 9:26.
Esther chapter 9 and verse 26. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name of Pur.
Right, because their destination and their fate was turned from death to life. Because pure lot, your lot means your destiny or your fate. Okay? Right, that's two synonyms that can go with the word lot. Or pure, par in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. It's spelled pure here, but it's par in the ancient. Or par yum, plural. Right, come on.
Therefore, for all the words of this letter, and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them, the Jews ordained and took upon them, and upon their seed, and upon all such as joined themselves unto them, so as it should not fail, that they would keep these 2 days according to their writing, and according to their appointed time every year, and that these days should be remembered and kept throughout every generation, every family, every province, and every city, and that these days of Purim should not fail from among the Jews, nor the memorial of them perish from their seed.
Right, so we're supposed to teach this throughout our generations. And it says every year, okay? Right, yeah, this is my 29th Purim. When I first came into school in 94, I came in like late March. So Purim had already passed. They had already kept it. But all praise to the Most High. It's been 29 years I've been acknowledging the Purim. God? Right, go ahead.
Verse 29. Then Esther, the queen, the daughter of Abihail, and Mordecai the Jew, wrote with all authority to confirm this second letter of Purim.
Right, come on.
And he sent the letters unto all the Jews to the 127 provinces of the kingdom of Ahasuerus, with the words of peace and truth, to confirm these days of Purim and their times appointed according to as Mordecai the Jew and Esther the queen had enjoined them, and as they had decreed for themselves and for their seed, the matters of the fasting and their cry.
Come on.
And the decree of Esther confirmed these matters of Purim, and it was written in the book.
So basically it became a feast day added unto our calendar. Okay? Right, 10 and 1.
10 and 1. And the king Ahasuerus laid a tribute upon the land and upon the isles of the sea, and all the acts of his power and of his might, and the declaration of greatness of Mordecai were unto the king advanced him. Are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia?
Right, because some historians try to say that the book of Esther was made up. It was added. It was what I read. I read so much. You can't remember every book and everything you read. I read a lot about Purim over the years, but I do remember reading. I don't have to make this stuff up. They said Esther was added to the Bible to boost the morale of the Jews, to make them feel better about themselves, that they got a victory over another nation. I read that somewhere. Good. But wait a minute, there's a cut right here. Because if you go in the Chronicles of the Kings and Media and Persia, and everybody done seen a documentary on the History Channel or something, and the scholars bring it out. They'll be like, in the Persian Chronicles, you read about Mordecai. You read about Esther. Esau bring it out. Okay? But it's written. Well, it says that in the Bible. Well, go to the Chronicles of the Kings of Persia and Media. Go ask the scholars. Is it written in the history of the Chronicles of the Kings of Persia and Media? Right? Then you got these brothers and sisters. Well, it's not Leviticus 23. And in the feast day, the Lord added it because the story had to happen. Okay? And then the Lord, remember, a lot of our feast days are based upon deliverance. Okay? Passover is based upon deliverance. Even Feast of Tabernacles. What? We came out of Egypt and we were wandering in the wilderness. It's based upon deliverance. Okay? Right, go ahead.
It's hard to argue against history in the sense that He sent letters to 120 provinces.
Kind.
So it's not just in the main city's archives, it would be in the archives of all of those 120 provinces.
Kind.
How you gonna argue against that?
Right. How you going to argue against that? You know what I'm saying? Them stories in the Bible are made up. All right. Well, why is it all written throughout different history? Like I said, everybody has seen a documentary on the History Channel where they say, this history, and you can find this in the Bible, but it's written in different nations' history. Okay? Right? So believe Esau if you don't want to believe us. Right? Come on.
Verse 3. For Mordecai the Jew was next unto King Ahasuerus, and great among the Jews, and accepted of the multitude of his brethren, seeking the wealth of his people, and speaking peace to all his seed.
See that? And there's nothing wrong for looking out for your people and your nation. Right. Go to the rest of the books of Esther. Part of the 10th chapter after the Greek, page 55. All right, we almost home, y'all. We almost home. I know y'all want to get to the curry what, right? But we almost home. Right, Carl. We go long, we go strong. H.O.I. To the chariots fly.
13:3?
No, part of the 10th chapter after the Greek, page 55, the first chapter.
Oh, first chapter, yeah.
This is the rest. This is the rest of the 10th chapter that was added.
12:3, right?
No. Part of the 10th chapter after the Greek, on page 55. Who got it? All right. Read that.
The additions to Esther.
Yeah.
The 10th chapter, right?
Yeah, it starts with the 10th chapter.
Just go to page.
Hold up. You got, it's just page 55.
Page 55 in your apocrypha.
Yeah, go to page 55 in your red apocrypha. Yeah.
If you got a red apocrypha.
Yeah. I'll start off till we find it. It said, then Mordecai said, Yahweh have done these things, for I remember a dream which I saw concerning these matters, and nothing thereof have failed. A little fountain became a river. The little fountain is Esther. All right. And there was light and the sun and much water. This river is Esther, whom the king married and made queen. This little Hebrew woman became favorable in the sight of the king and was given a position of queen, put in that position so she can deliver Israel. And the two dragons are I and Ammon. All right. And the nations were those that were assembled to destroy the name of the Jews. And my nation is this Israel, which cried to Yahweh and were saved. For Yahweh have delivered, for Yahweh have saved his people. Everybody write down Matthew 1:21. All right, when it says Yahweh shall save his people from their sins. When you argue with the Christians, you can use that one too. And you can link it with Esther 10 and 9 in the Apocrypha. It says, and Yahweh have wrought signs and great wonders which have not been done among the Gentiles. Meaning the greatest works in the history of the world. And the greatest work, remember Daniel 12? It said there's going to come a time that has never been seen on the earth since man. I'm paraphrasing. Meaning this last deliverance is going to be the greatest thing ever witnessed in the history of man. Kind of this last deliverance. God? I tell you in Jeremiah, this is even going to surpass Egypt. This deliverance here in America, this is going to be the greatest thing that ever happened in the history of the world. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Good? I don't know, y'all acting like y'all don't believe it. Okay? Right? So reading on, it says, Esther 10 and 10 in the Apocrypha. Therefore hath he made two lots, two destinies and two fates. One for the people of Yahweh. Our lot and our destiny was to be delivered. Okay? And another for the Gentiles. 75,000 of the Gentiles, and Haman and his 10 sons got killed and destroyed. Okay? So their fate was to be killed and destroyed. Our fate was to be delivered and a feast day be made out of it. Okay? Right? And these two came at the hour and time and day of judgment before Yahweh among all nations. The 14th and the 15th of the month Adar. Okay? That's the time and hour and judgment among all nations. So Yahweh remembered his people and justified his inheritance. Therefore, those days shall be unto them in the month Adar, the 14th, 15th day of the same month, with an assembly and joy and with gladness before Yahweh, according to the generations forever among his people. So from that time, the scholars tell you Purim happened around sometime in the 5th century, maybe in the 400s BC somewhere. I'll look again for the exact date. But it said, if from that time forward, these days should be kept every year of the nation of Israel. Okay? So the Most High can add a feast there if he wants to. Right? Chapter 11, verse 1. In the 4th year of the reign of Ptolemaeus and Cleopatra, Dositheus, who said he was a priest and Levite, and Ptolemaeus his son, brought this epistle of Purim, which they said was the same, and that Lysimachus, the son of Ptolemaeus, that was in Jerusalem, had interpreted it. So it's just saying, going forward during Greek history, the Feast of Purim was written in the records. Because what? Persian and Mede was before Greek. So now you come up to the Ptolemaic era, right? Ptolemy. Now the history of Purim is written in the records, and they have it in the Greek writings or in the Greek history also. Okay? Now, when it says place in the Greek before chapter 1 and 1 of the Hebrew, that we don't have to read that now, but those verses 2 through 12, that's the dream that Mordecai had of the entire story before it even happened. You're supposed to read that before you even start Esther 1 and 1 in the Bible. Okay? And the fulfillment of the dream is what we just read. Verses 4 through 13 of chapter 10. Because the dream happened in the beginning. And then once it was over, Mordecai expounded, gave the interpretation of the dream. But y'all can read verses 2 through 12 on your own. That's the dream that Mordecai had, that the whole thing was going to happen before it even happened. So the story opens up with Mordecai's dream, and it closes with Mordecai interpreting the dream. Okay? Right, so go from there. One more. We almost home. Go to the rest of the books of Esther, chapter 16 and verse 15. There's page 57 and 58 now. Got it?
Yeah, come.
16, verse 15. Read that.
Verse 15. But we find that the Jews, whom this wicked wretch have delivered to utter destruction, are no evildoers, but live by most just laws.
Remember, Hannah was trying to say that we was malicious and we had evil laws. Right, good.
And
Salakia, God.
And that they...
Hold on. Shemai got a point.
Would Mordecai be considered a prophet?
No.
And
right.
The reason I'm asking is because if God revealed this thing to him in a dream before it happens, Amos says, surely the Lord will do nothing lest he reveal it to his prophets. So that's the reason I'm asking.
No, because you had common Israelites that have dreams also. It wasn't necessarily that Mordecai was a prophet. He was just a deliverer of Israel at that time. But you had go to Joel 2 real quick. Joel 2 and 27. Well, put it like this. I didn't read nowhere where it necessarily labels Mordecai a prophet. But the reason why the Most High does that, because he's showing that even the common people, he can use them and show them dreams and visions. Okay? You don't necessarily have to be a prophet. Okay? And remember, the scriptures say, surely the Lord God will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets unto some things that are revealed to prophets is not going to be revealed to the common man. Okay? It's going to be like on a higher level. But read Joel 2:27.
Joel 2:27. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed. And it shall come to pass afterwards that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh.
The Lord said he will pour his spirit upon all flesh. Come on.
And your sons and your daughters shall prophesy.
Come on.
Your old men shall dream dreams.
Go ahead.
Your young men shall see visions.
See, I don't put the spirit on everybody, right? They're going to be prophesying, dreaming dreams, having visions. But that don't necessarily make them prophets like an Isaiah or an Ezekiel or, like you might say, your son might say something to you. And he might be like, yo, my son prophesied that. My son said that was going to happen. That don't necessarily make him a prophet. It's just the Lord used him to prophesy. Okay? But he's not Daniel or Ezekiel or Jeremiah or Isaiah. Okay? Right? The Lord just used him, right, to say something prophetic. Good? Right, good.
And also upon the servants and upon the handmaids in those days will I pour out my spirit.
The Lord said, I'm going to just put my spirit on everybody. Right, good.
And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke.
Good.
The sun shall be turned into darkness.
That's it on that. Basically, the Lord is saying I can use anybody to see a vision, have a dream, or even to speak prophetically, but not necessarily make you a prophet. Because the elect are mainly the prophets, 144,000. Right? Not the whole nation, but the Lord can use anybody.
Prove that is King Saul. King Saul prophesied at one time. But we know that his kingdom was going down and he was wicked. But the Lord used him to prophesy. I told you that sometimes. So the Lord can use her at a certain time, but that don't make them a prophet, so to speak.
God. So everybody understand? God.
One more question. Who labeled prophets minor or major prophets? Is that Esau doing? Or did it?
From what I can see, that's just in the history because like Isaiah, Daniel, who is it? Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, and Jeremiah, they had more. Look at their books are much more vast than Haggai and Obadiah. And so the Most High dealt with them on a higher level and showed them much more. Because like Isaiah's like, what, 66 chapters? Right. You know, Ezekiel, they got more heavier and more weighty and more content in their prophecies than like a Haggai, like a Obadiah. Obadiah he got one chapter, you know what I'm saying? Right? But you know, to me, every prophet of the Most High is major. Yeah. But it's just in the sense of some saw more than others. That's all. But remember, the Most High deal with everybody on different levels. Right? Like Peter, you know, Peter was considered the head apostle. Don't mean the Lord didn't deal with the other 11, but he had rank and file amongst, you know, how he dealt. Okay? Right? But you know, I would say because they saw more. They got damn 10 times more chapters, 20 times more chapters than some of the other prophets. So, you know, some of the prophets, the Most High just bow. I'm going to have them say this, and that's it. I'm going to have Jeremiah go all the way into this. I'm going to have Isaiah go into that, you know. So that's all.
That's just a label that man put on you.
I don't see it nowhere in the scripture where the Most High put a label on who was major and minor. So that have to be man. If there's a scripture on it, somebody can show it to me. But I never seen where the Most High said Isaiah is more major than Haggai. You know what I'm saying? But what would make sense is that they receive more prophecy. But if there's a scripture on it that says, because when the scripture just says prophets, it doesn't really put any rank or file on the prophets. But I don't know, maybe I read it somewhere and didn't see it. But if somebody's seen a scripture where it determines, but it would make sense that it's because of the depthness of each prophet, how they saw so much more, that they would be considered major or minor. Good? Right? Somebody got a scripture on that? Send it to me. Good? You got a scripture on it, Tawal? Sure, you got a scripture on that?
My take on that was always, man, no, that's Esau, man.
Right.
No such thing as no man.
Right, because even when you met, I think it's in the Apocrypha somewhere, it just mentions the prophets. It just mentioned them like all together. I think it's a scripture in Second Ezra or one of them. Right. And it just mentions them. It don't mention no rank or, you know what I'm saying? So I would say like Esau just came up with that because of how some of the prophets had more chapters in the Bible. That's all. God, that's the only thing that makes sense. Right? Good? All right.
Verse 16?
Yeah. Verse 16.
Verse 16.
The rest of the books are Esther, chapter 16, verse 16. Read.
And that they be children of the Most High. And they be children of the Most High and most mighty living God, who have ordered the kingdom both unto us and to our progenitors in the most excellent manner. Wherefore he shall do well not to put in execution the letters sent unto you by Haman, the son of Hamathiah.
So now the decree has been reversed. This is going deeper into the letter where the decree was reversed. All right, we had the letter that was written against Israel. Now this is the letter that was reversed. The decree was reversed for us to destroy our enemies and defend ourselves. Go ahead.
For he that was a worker of these things is hanged at the gates of Susa with all his family.
Meaning Haman and his family and his 10 sons got hung. Go ahead.
God, who ruleth all things, speedily rendering vengeance to him.
Speedily rendering vengeance to him. Go ahead.
Accordingly to his desert.
According to what he deserved. Go ahead.
Therefore he shall publish the copy of this letter in all places, that the Jews may freely live after their own laws.
And again, that shows you that we can keep the commandments in captivity. With or without Esau's approval. Because we did it back then. Go ahead.
And he shall aid them, that even the same day, being the 13th day of the 20th month of Adar, 12th day of Adar, they may be avenged on them, who in the time of their affliction shall set upon them.
See that significance of that 13th day. That's why it became another festival day with the destruction of Nicanor. Come on, because it was significant during the time of the Edomites in the Persian captivity. Come on.
For Almighty God hath turned to joy unto them the day wherein the chosen people shall have perished. Ye shall therefore among your solemn feasts keep it a high day with all feasting.
Go ahead.
That both now and hereafter there may be safely to us and the well affected Persians, but to those which do conspire against us a memorial of destruction.
Go ahead.
Therefore every city and country whatsoever which shall not do according to these things shall be destroyed without mercy with fire and swords, and shall be made not only unpassable for men, but also most hateful to wild beasts and foul ever.
God, God, so the Lord said, destroy them, their lands, and don't even make it inhabitable for wild beasts. Forever amen. All right, go to 2 Maccabees 15 and 36. 2 Maccabees 15 and 36. That's it, y'all. That's it. All right, one more. One more. You see that significance of that 13th day. 2 Maccabees 15, 36. Just read that and close out.
Book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 15 and verse 36. And it reads, and they ordained all with a common decree in one case to let that day pass without solemnity. But to celebrate the 13th day of
solemnity. Right, go ahead.
Solemnity. But to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the Syrian tongue, is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day.
What is Mordecai's day? By a show of hands. What is Mordecai's day? By a show of hands. Every hand should be up. Shemaiah help them. Purim. God. Because even though the story is written about Esther, but one of the main characters is Mordecai. Because Mordecai, as being a man, he got elevated because being a man and being on the forefront, and the decree being turned against Mordecai and then upon Haman. So he became like the hero of the Purim story, even though it was based upon Esther. God and her position was used to deliver Israel, but it was Mordecai that pushed her. God? So that's why that 13th day is significant, because later on it became a day of acknowledging of the destruction of Nicanor. Where in the history it was an acknowledging of the destruction of Haman and all the nations and the provinces that wanted to destroy Israel. God? Any questions or comments? But real quick, I just thought this was interesting. I got this newspaper yesterday. They said Google, they got a Google search, right, with the artificial intelligence where you type in the historical figures and they give you the image, right? So they mad because you type in George Washington and you get a black image. Right? Now y'all know how we feel about what y'all did to Yahushua. God? All right? Let me read it real quick. It says, Google woke AI makes Vikings black and the Pope a woman, which we got history that a lot of Vikings were of color during that period. Right? So, and they call the Vikings marauders of Egypt. I mean, of Europe. They try to put like a derogatory name on them. But Esau is something that even something that they try to put a derogatory term on, they still try to make them white. Right. Anything great in history. Right. But when you go to this AI Google search and you type in Vikings, it gives you people of color. You type in George Washington, it gives you a black man with a white wig. Wow. Right? So give me Romans 1:25 real quick. Right? And this is they said it pissed a lot of Edomites off. But now the Most High is letting this happen. Because they saying this particular AI website is woke. Y'all know that term? That term woke just simply means Negroes that know what's going on. And I'm going to hit you with something. That's a code word. That's a code word with the white supremacists. He's woke. He's a Negro that know. And the woke that they not even talking about our woke. Because when you look up that term woke, like in the urban dictionaries and stuff, they say something about an African American that's aware of the white supremacy and injustice of America, something like that. Some fancy thing. But basically, it's a Negro that knows something. Right? So they're saying like, and this is an image you get for Founding Father. When you Google Founding Father, and this image of a black man with a white wig comes on. And it said Edomites were pissed as hell about this. George Washington was white, right? But the most High just having a little fun, that's all. It says, ask Google's artificial intelligence program to show you a founding father, and it produces this image of a black George Washington. The company admits it was trying to generate diverse results, but instead ended up with historic inaccuracies. Now you know how we feel about Caesar Borgias. Right? Put that in your pipe now and smoke it, Esau. It don't feel too good now, right? Read Romans 1:25.
Romans 1:25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator?
What did the Lord say?
Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator?
So it's Esau that changed the truth into a lie. He whitewashed everybody. It tell you that in 1 Maccabees, the 3rd chapter. Lay open the book of the law where the heathen sought to paint the likeness of their images. They said when you Google Pope, it gives you a woman and then it gives you a black Pope. Right? Which Pope is just like symbolic to church father. The original church fathers, Peter, the apostles, they were black. They were men of color. They show you that in Russian icons. And, we've been bringing out the icons for years. But now they pissed because they said all the popes were white men. Right? But the Most High is making this happen. Right? Then, right here, they got the founding fathers, and a black man pops up there with them. Right? But even on the, what was that? They was circulating years ago. They said, the first presidents were black. Yeah, remember the John Hanson? They had him on a $2 bill. Yeah, right. So they, you Google founding father, they give you black images. Right, they give you the Edomites with his black image. And Edomites are pissed about this, right? Here's images of the Vikings, right? They give you then a black woman, black man, but he got a fur on with rainbow on it. They had to throw LBGT in there. The Vikings were black men that wore the LGBTQ rainbow. So they just all kinds of folly,